Welcome back to a brand new episode of Full Metal RPG. I'm your host, Brendan Carrion, and today I'm joined by a huge cast, Full Metal RPG motherfuckers. Welcome, Richie Buzzkill. What up?
What up, everybody? We're you can see our nerd faces if you're in the right place.
It's Richie Buzzkill. This is what we look like. It's Full Metal RPG Season 2 coming at you now with faces. Is this value added? We will see.
Who knows?
We also got Ashley. What up? How you doing? How you been?
I'm fantastic. I'm in space now. As you don't look
Ashley's
down
in
here.
space.
Queen of space.
Richard's in like a little room.
Yeah.
And I am in Transylvania. I'm coming to you live from Transylvania. This is exactly what Transylvania looks like. It's very historically accurate. Oh, what up? How you doing, playa? It's good to see you again, man.
How's it going?
Which one?
Which one? Hi. Yeah, which one you cut out?
Oh, great.
Daryl. Hi. Yeah.
Great.
Rock
So we're
on.
off to the
Good to be
races
here.
on this, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Sounds like everything's going great. Love it. And
Yes.
we're joined by Gabe.
Fantastic.
Gabe with the Youth Code t-shirt, bro. What up?
How's it going? I really like this band, by the way, and they're dropping a new single this week, so I'm stoked.
Fuck yeah. Love it. Love it. So here we are. It's Full Metal RPG Season 2. We're now on the YouTube or whatever. We're on the Twitch, which is where the kids are at, I'm told. So I hope that you are maybe watching this, or if you have any interest in watching this, like come try and find the videos on YouTube. Maybe look for us on Twitch so that you can, follow the show live. We have a lot to do today at the start of Season 2. We are so stacked with stuff to do. So I figure we should just jump right into it. What do you all think?
Let's do it.
Let's fucking do it. All right, great. So, I want to kind of start off right away just by thanking the patrons of Full Metal RPG. It has been an interesting time in Full Metal RPG land. We have experienced a growth in the Patreon of something akin to 40% in the last 2 weeks, which is unprecedented to me. I have no understanding of how or why this has happened. So here we are. I have a huge list of new patrons to read. And I really, as a person, I genuinely kind of hate not having just one person, because I want to focus on one person and say thank you. But we literally have like 7. So I'm not going to skimp. You're going to get your time. Here we go. We're going to start. Thank you to Patrick Gilmartin. Thank you to Dwayne. Appreciate you, man. Thank you to Scott Andrew. Wolf Mungus, the homie Wolf Mungus, coming in hot. He updated his pledge. We have Alex Gen Bash. Thank you for your support. We have Petrie Leonin. Thank you. We have TJ Wilson. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We have DM Real X Dad. Fuck yeah, what up? I'm sure that X is a straight edge X. Welcome. And we have Sarah Swafford, brand new patrons. So thank you all so much for your patronage. Thank you for making the show possible. It is because of the support of our patrons that we're able to make this transition into video. And while maybe it's going a little bit like this today, I suspect that in a couple months, we're going to have this thing looking real smooth and nice. So thank you all for just making this possible, for making the show possible. We love and we appreciate all of our patrons. Now, most of these patrons are actually on our Discord channel. So Richard here, congrats to Richard for really keeping the Discord alive since 2018 when we established it. And or was that 2019? I don't know. It was 2018. It was 2018. It was a while ago.
1,000 years ago, in the long ago, in the dark ages, we started a Discord, and lo it did get little play, and I sat and waited like in my monk-like cave for people to show up, and then I responded to them.
I like to refer to it as the before times.
Yeah, that's right.
In the before long ago.
Back when we used to go to things like concerts and bars.
Our RBK has been keeping the lamp lit at the Discord for a couple of years now, and I have only been popping in and being kind of like and using it for recording and using it for my Esoteric Enterprises game, but I haven't been super involved. And Richard would say to me, like, you should stop by the fucking Discord, bro. It's full of cool people. You would enjoy yourself. And I've always been like all vampiric. I've been like, no, like I require the shadows or something. But recently I started thinking to myself, you know what I really miss is I really miss those kind of super genuine interactions that we used to have on the Full Metal RPG Instagram. The Full Metal RPG Instagram used to just be such a fun place to like meet people and interact and have conversations about role-playing games. And then Facebook bought Instagram. It became hard to connect with people. It became very tiresome and wearisome to be on there. So I went on the Discord, and Richard was right. RBK was totally fucking right. Our Discord community is bomb. These people who have pledged support, plus others, make our Discord community a really great place to be and to hang out and to talk about role-playing games. And then also just like a lot of other stuff, because we added in a whole bunch of other channels. So I highly recommend that if you're a listener to the show and you want to interact with us, the hosts, or if you want to just interact with like the other people who listen to the show, who are, I have to say, of a pretty consistent like mind, Discord is a great place to do it. So please consider coming by and checking us out there. You can find just like an invite, an open invite on our Facebook page. And for whatever reason you can't get at that, then find some way to get at me, and I will send you.
Here's a URL, tinyurl.com/fullmetaldiscord. So I'll put in the show notes along with other links to find us.
Look at that.
And places.
That's some fucking technology.
Organizations.
That's some like big brain move right there. So.
Oh shit, memeing already. All right, great. So thank you to all of our patrons. Thank you to our Discord community, because I've been having such a fucking good time hanging out with you all. And thank you to all of our listeners. We love our listeners. If you listen to one episode, if you listen to all the episodes, if you tell your friends about the episodes, we love you and we thank you for everything you do for Full Metal RPG. So enough of me blathering. What do you think? We should talk about some role-playing games and shit, right?
Hell yeah.
Right? Technically, that's what this is about. So let's do a little bit of the black hole, shall we? The black hole is the ever-sucking void that takes away all of our time, resources, and attention. It is role-playing, the greatest of hobbies. I've been talking too long. Ashley, what's going on?
Hi. Well, I am in the same campaigns I have been in. My Pathfinder 2 campaign is still trying to kill us at every corner. So one of the things they have different in Pathfinder 2 that I think we talked about last time, and also speaking of Discord, someone tagged me asking about one of the mechanics of Pathfinder 2, and I read it right before I was going to bed. And then when I woke up, because it is so popping in there, it was gone. And I don't know who it was or what the specific question was. So I think someone else might have answered it. But shit, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to ignore you, whoever it was that asked that. I
can't remember what channel that was in. Anyway, if you're listening, come on and hit Ashley up. Yeah.
Yes, ask me again. So I'm sorry about that. But one of the things that they have that's different from Pathfinder 1, you can just go negative hit points, and once you reach like negative 15 is when you die your true death or whatever. In Pathfinder 2, they have conditions of dying 1, dying 2, dying 3, and then at dying 4 is when you really die unless you take a certain feat that lets you not. It lets you go to dying 5 instead. Anyway, my character got to dying 3 this past session, and so did our barbarian. So it's still goes, the fight does not go well, Enterprise. It is still going really rough. But it's awesome though, because most campaigns, it's like you feel safe. Like it's never one of those things where you're worried about your character dying. But this one, literally every session, someone goes to at least dying one. It's intense. Like it's the difficulty level on this is just really high, and it's awesome though because it's exciting. Like I literally could die at any time. So yeah,
I really like that.
It's every session.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it adds that element of like, well, shit, which is fun. And it's multiple members of the party pretty much every session. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. Highly recommend Pathfinder 2 if you're thinking that like the other campaigns you're in or the other sessions are going really easily and you're like, I wish that I was worried about dying. Go to Pathfinder 2. It'll do it for you.
I wish this was crunchier and I wish I was dying more. Okay, cool.
Pathfinder 2. All of those buttons for you. So yeah, and then Pathfinder 1 is still going. That's the Emerald Spire one, which is a lot of fun. Oh, I'm joining on, I think I can say this, I don't know, but Alan from Gallant Knight Games, he announced that he's going to be doing a Tiny Cthulhu on his channel, and I'll be playing in that as well. So I'll be in. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that.
When you say his channel, what does that mean?
He is starting a Gallant Knight Games channel, and it's going to have some actual play stuff, some other content, things like that. So one of the things he's going to be doing is hosting a... He's not going to actually be GMing. There's a different GM for it. But that'll be coming out soon. And I feel like I can say that because he talked about it on his Facebook page. If not, Richard, edit this out.
Seems legit.
Seems legit. Okay.
No such thing as bad publicity. Don't even sweat.
Yeah. So anyway, that'll be a lot of fun. Memory Alpha is still going. We just finished a... Daryl, what was the name of that VR game that this was based off of? The Memory Alpha?
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. We did like it was supposed to be a one shot, and it ended up being a 3-episode arc of us basically playing Phasmophobia, which was fun. I'd never heard of that game, and so I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And I was talking to Daryl about it, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds exactly like this." And I was like, "That's where she got it from." So, yeah. So we did like, yeah, we did some Ghost Hunter shit. It was a lot of fun. So, and then next weekend we're gonna get back to actual Memory Alpha stuff, and we started releasing episodes again, which is very exciting. So.
Wow. Yeah, sounds like you've had a lot going on. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Gabe, my friend, you haven't had a chance to talk much. Lay it on me. What you got?
So my Star Wars game, not that I'm DMing, but the one that I'm a part of, where I play Rax the Trandoshan Bounty Hunter, is back with its like Chapter 2. We took like a month or so off. But we're back, and I'm still falling in love with Genesis system. Like, it's one of my favorite systems to be playing. And I think it, like I had mentioned before, it really fits the whole Star Wars vibe and whatnot, which is how it natively runs. So that's what we've been doing. But I'm also, I had mentioned this like in our private conversations and stuff, but my lady and I have been really itching to roll dice, but like just one-on-one. So I've really been looking into systems that support one-on-one play, and I found two. So one of them is Scarlet Heroes, which is written by Kevin Crawford, the same guy that wrote Stars Without Number, if anybody is a fan of that, which I'm a huge fan of. So it's his take on one DM, one player, as well as just normal table like amount. And you can also run it in solo play too, using the Oracle system that Ironsworn uses as well. So that's really cool because it is natively an OSR game, and he's got a good resume of writing OSR stuff. And everything that you've played in first edition, second edition, even like white box type stuff is compatible with Scarlet Heroes. So since I have a copy of Temple of Elemental Evil, and because of the current pandemic situation, my lady and I are probably going to start a one-player, one DM game of Scarlet Heroes. And without going too much into detail, the system is modified to basically power up that lone player and make it so that it's a level playing field for one player going up against the actual temple, but still pretty cool. The other game too is called Stories from the Grave, and if anybody has met my lady, I know Brendan has, she's very much a comic book and pop culture kind of junkie, so she really likes old sci-fi and like old horror and stuff, and Stories from the Grave essentially emulates Tales from the Crypt comics. So I saw that and was immediately like, well,
that's cool.
I'm buying this for her. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and drop the link in the Twitch once I'm done talking. But
how does that work? Like, how does that work?
So I've only flipped through it a little bit because I've mainly been reading the Scarlet Heroes PDF. So I can't give too much detail, but from what I've read, it is, I described it to a friend as a less depressing 10 Candles. So if you've ever played 10 Candles, everybody knows that when that game is over, everybody you need to decompress. It's really upsetting. Stories from the Grave is essentially that, but it's fun. One of the notes inside of the rule book specifically says, well, what about that logic, ? And the author's answer is like, we throw logic out in this game. If it makes for a better horror story, go for it. And I'm like, oh, that like hit me right there. Cause I'm like, that's what Tales from the Crypt was. Like, how is this guy like running around with one arm and an axe and stuff and still able to swing and chase like the teenagers at the camp? Who cares? Like, it's good. But the dice system essentially determines certain like outcomes. So I think it's similar to 10 Candles. Again, don't hold it against me. I've only flipped through it, but it was essentially a blind buy. I saw the cover. I saw that it was a like story heavy role-playing system. And I was like, well, I'm buying this for her because she loves Monster of the Week. And if you've ever played Monster of the Week, it's all about story and dice is kind of an afterthought. So I bought that for her and she's going to be reading that. And then one last tiny bit, she's been reading Masks because she wants to run a superhero game with our online group. So I'll be checking that out and I'll report back on how that is. But I'm nonetheless really excited because she's very good at running PBTA stuff. So yes, very busy for me.
That's a lot of exciting stuff. I am very curious about the Tales from the Crypt game, and I'm super stoked for your Masks game. I'll be interested in hearing about that. This is kind of like the way for like months now. I've been like squeezing RBK for like details about his Trail of Cthulhu game. I'm gonna be like on you about. Be like, tell me everything about Masks, bro, because I'm fascinated by Masks, but I don't imagine a possible future in which I have time to play it anytime soon. So
and we spoke briefly yesterday too, and like the downfall of PBTA games is it's very, very specific and like niche. But like if that's your thing, like that's it. Like, was it like Spirit of 76? I think is like specifically like 70s blaxploitation films. Like, I'm about that, but like you got to find a very specific group that's down to play like that specific type of genre. So
sure,
especially doesn't go a little get into maybe some of the stereotypes that are not trying to figure out that right balance for that game is
I think PBTA just generally is moving away from that like hyper specificity. I feel like the newer games are trying to be a bit more broad, and I feel like the games that are coming out now that are so specific are almost these Forged in the Dark games, because those games have to be really specific because of the way the mechanic works. But I think that we're going to see more PBTA that's like a little bit more broad. Everything
I'm
okay?
going to drop the stories from the grave in the Find a Game channel in our Discord. So
there you go.
There you go. That's you're interested in that.
Cool.
I'll drop Scarlet Heroes too.
Sweet.
Cool. Great. Daryl, man, what up? What are you up to?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah. So big shift in life has left me with some extra time to start looking at books and stuff. I hit Bookman's the other day looking for some more of my Chronicles of Darkness stuff to collect and realized that I still haven't played everything that I've got. So I'm trying to decide what the next game I'm going to write is, whether it's going to be, I'm looking at Geist or potentially a Vampire the Requiem. I've never run a vampire game, and it'll be quite a challenge and a big shift from my usual style. But I think I'm excited to do it. And then I was talking with Ashley the other day. We were talking about writing a one-sheet RPG together with a really interesting concept. It's going to be called Don't Tell Richard. I don't want to. We're working on the mechanics at the moment, but
that seems
we were just kind of spitballing the other day.
Speaking of the specific games,
right. That's it's in the veins of like Everybody is John.
In my
Everybody is John
experience,
is so good.
You really got to tell Richard because Richard is the axis around which the entire podcast turns. And if you don't tell Richard, bad things happen. That's just what I've learned.
Yeah, absolutely. No. This is a more generic Richard.
Yeah,
it was just a name that we pulled out. So, yeah.
It could be called Don't Tell Dickie. How about that?
There you go.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, we'll shop the title around. But
a little bit of onomatopoeia there, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
They'd love to tell you the rules, but they can't tell you.
Yeah, they can't.
Everyone
they can't
else.
talk
So,
about
Richard,
it.
you earmuffs. And then
Earmuffs.
We'll
Yeah, there you go. Earmuffs.
Cool. So
yeah.
Is that what you've been up to there, Daryl?
Yeah, I'm starting to get back, get my energy back to get my creative mojo flowing, and I anticipate a break in the whole COVID storm that will let us all congregate again. I want to join online RPGs, but I struggle a lot because I sit on a computer all day long, and then to get back on the computer for an RPG is a really big slog for me. So I think I'm going to spend the next couple months just writing and trying to get my mojo back and create some stories. My Gabe got the new Strahd Coffin box set for Christmas, and so I've been looking at that. Yes, and I've never actually played through Strahd. I've just talked about it endlessly with Richie. So I'd love to actually get a chance to get into that at some point.
Nice.
But,
Gabe, not your co-host, Gabe. Not the co-host, Gabe.
Oh, yeah, not that Gabe. My son, Gabe.
Different Gabe.
You're like, I did?
GM son.
No. I assume so, because I was like, did I get blackout the other day? No. But I was going to say, please let me know what you think of that, because, I'm pretty sure it's, very obvious by now, at least, since we've all been buddies for a while. Still, a very big 5e fanboy, and Strahd is in my opinion, one of the best modules they've ever written, period. Specifically 5e Curse of Strahd. So, yeah, let me know what you think of that, because I was very excited on some of the changes that they've made.
That's a very
It is a hot take. I will die on this hill.
It's my hill I have chosen. Yes. My roommate's running a Strahd campaign, actually, so I got to play as an NPC, one of the brides once, and so that was fun. But they're loving it, so Strahd seems pretty legit.
Rad.
I just wish they didn't put in a damn coffin.
No, it's a cool box. It's a kick-ass box.
That's super weak. No, I just am I see that in the stores. I'm just that's the most gimmickiest shit I've ever seen. I'm just
especially because
you will not get my money for that.
Yeah, especially because the limited edition covers are getting better and better and better. That when they announce they're re-releasing Strahd with a special edition, packaging, I was like, here we go. We got the black cover, and we can get some purple stuff. No, it's a coffin. Damn it.
Yeah, it's a coffin, but it's a really complete box, though. It's got the Taraka deck. True. It's got a map. It's a pretty killer set, overall.
What they need to do, and this was my favorite of the Bernie sitting memes that happened this week, is they had the cover of Strahd, and it had Bernie sitting in the throne on the cover of Strahd.
Please,
that was amazing. I will send you that.
That is good. Richard, how about you, bud? What you got going on, man?
Well,
lay it on me, String Beef. What you got?
So we were trying to get, the after holidays. There was some rough patches with Eternal Lies. We did get to play last night, which was a lot of fun. I've actually retired a character. So I retired my detective, who was basically on the edge of going insane and had multiple amputations that made her very much monster bait in that game. So I created Father Donald Conrad, who's an ex-Irish freedom fighter who joined the Catholic Church to escape Ireland, and has been kind of joined the Order of Malta, which is the kind of monster hunting order in Eternal Lies. So he's now embedded with the characters, and we've made it to a what I think is one of the second to last big locations. So it's been solid. It's been fun. It's really interesting. We'll see where this goes, because it's, when you get to a new place, you kind of have to figure out, well, how does this place work? Because every one of these places in Eternal Lies works differently.
Kind of locations, the specific geographical locations.
Yeah, the geographical locations have kind of different thematic elements that make them LA is kind of a noir city, so it's very much fit very well with my detective. But like, you know, when you go to Savannah, it's a little bit like asylum-y kind of like horror kind of thing going on. So, it's a really cool game, and I'm really excited to keep going with that. I think we're gonna finish this spring, I'm hoping. So if we keep getting to play every Saturday, I think we're gonna finish Eternal Lies. So, which is super.
That was
exciting.
my next question. Is do you know about like what percentage of the way through the book you are at this point?
I don't know what the percentage of through the book, but I'm fairly certain that there's only really two major places left. So like whatever that would be, like 80% of the way through the book or whatever.
Interesting. Cool. Cool. That's great.
And then I did get to play Something Is Wrong Here, which is shout out to Nolan. He ran this in space when we were going to play Eternal Lies, but couldn't quite make it. This is kind of David Lynch, Twin Peaks inspired, kind of a little bit absurdism, a little absurd. So like it doesn't have to make a lot of sense. It just has to have a mood kind of thing. Like they kind of specifically say to not try and connect the scenes too much. Like just have a scene that's has this feeling to it. And there's this like multimedia facet to it that makes it playing on the computer actually quite good, because otherwise I think you as somebody at the table you would need a kind of a VJ or whatever, because there's like music cues, like they even music cue like Nine Inch Nails like Ghost 2 and like a couple other like copyrighted songs, and like they have this like it looks like those old screensavers where it just used to be color that kind of like did this, like just kind of wavy and just kind of like black and white or pink or whatever. And you're supposed to like look at it a little bit. And then you have these things called mirror scenes where you're like talking to yourself in the mirror and kind of reflecting on your character. It's very like that kind of like drama edge kind of stuff, you know? So
that's kind of cool. It sounds like it's in this genre of kind of like surrealistic RPG that we've seen sort of kind of gestating. I mean, there's a few of them. I don't know if they've really penetrated the market super well, but they're out there. I am intrigued by these experiences always. I don't know how was your experience with that?
I'm loving this artwork, by the way.
Yeah, and then that was a great experience. It had a feeling to it, you know, that it was not quite, you know, 10 Candles is my high watermark for like having an emotion in a game, like being affected by a game. But like this was like, you know, a click or two down, but it had like this definite like feeling after you're done kind of thing that was super cool. And that was a really, really interesting evening. And then I got to play Dracula's Dossier, but we played it with a different system. So we played a Forged in the Dark system called Buried Secrets, which is kind of a spy system. We played that.
I haven't heard of this one.
Have you've heard of Dracula's Dossier?
Well, I've heard of Dracula's Dossier, but I haven't heard of this Forged in the Dark system. Who does this? Where does it come from?
I'm gonna be real bad here, and I did not clock who.
No, I mean that's cool.
Who it was?
What's it called though? Say what it's called again.
Buried Secrets.
Interesting. Well, that's something to look into in the future, because I certainly
Blades in the Dark.
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was related to Blades in the Dark.
It is. It's
all Forged in the Dark stuff. Everything that's Forged in the Dark.
That's like the Powered by the Apocalypse sub-brand kind of thing. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. We like, I'm not going to spoil too much because I know Daryl's going to play soon. So, but a friend of mine just like out of the blue was like, "Hey, you want to play this?" I'm like, "Can I say yes any faster?" So had a great mood, had a cool mystery. I chose to volunteer to be a certain thing in the game, so that was fun too. I always like having different agendas and stuff happening, so that was a lot of fun, and it was good helping because she wants to make it a con game when cons are a thing again, so she's trying to tighten it up to be just the right amount of time and work really well. And I was like, wow, that's more work than I ever put in. So really, shout out to Lizzie Jane Took out there, and that's what I've been up to, other than setting up this very robotic looking picture, which is have
great.
fun.
No, that's cool. Let's see. So, I bought a bunch of role-playing games and I've played in some stuff, but I'm not gonna kind of talk about those things today. I do have some interesting kind of like artifacts that kind of came my way. The first one I'm gonna share with you right here is I got my original framed Leaf Jones. It's my original Leaf Jones is finally framed. It's this awesome kind of La Sombra evoking artwork from Montreal by Night. This is the original one. I bought it from the illustrator. One of my favorite books from one of my favorite games. And this is one of my favorite illustrations in that book. And he sold it on eBay. And so the one that you see in the book is now in my house. It's in my very house.
That's
awesome.
fucking cool.
Yeah, isn't it cool as shit? And my girlfriend did me a solid and took it to some posh framing place, got it framed in this neato frame, and it just came in yesterday. So I'm very effusive about this. I'm gonna be putting all my vampire books of all the different varieties into one bookcase, and I'm gonna hang this over it for super dramatic effect. This is definitely one of those achievement unlocked kind of moments in my role-playing life, because I love Leaf Jones. I love that art. It's just Jesus, it's so fucking great. And then go ahead,
hold on real second. No, I think my audio is now streaming. I don't think my audio was streaming before. Hey, because I was getting shouted at by No Time for Dudes. I could hear everybody's audio but RBK's, and I think because I was dual tracking it wasn't. So who knows what the audio or video will look like? Hey, this is the first show.
Did
you say it's a dice roll as to whether or not it's going to be there?
So yeah,
Learning
exactly.
is fun.
Learning is fundamental. Right. Anyway.
So another cool thing that happened to me this week was I got a letter in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
And this was kind of a peculiar letter because it didn't come to my house. It came to Game Depot in Tempe, Arizona. So somebody who listens to the show sent me some correspondence to Game Depot. And at first I was kind of like, what could that possibly be? But then when I got down there, I found this great note written to me. And the only return address said, Manuscribers of Mercury, right? And I opened it up, and on the inside, it came with this little note about witch money. And it tells you about how witches use this particular type of money, and you don't know quite about it. It was super cool. It's just like a cool little illustration and a cool, fun thing to read. And then it had these two little coins. And these two little coins were in there. And I was like, this is very bizarre. I thought to myself, is somebody trying to launch a business where they're like, you can buy these coins and use them in your game or something? Do they want a shout out on the show? But if they wanted a shout out on the show, they could have emailed me. It would have been much easier, right? So I, being confounded by this turn of events, I looked up Manuscribers of Mercury on Facebook, because if you type it into Google, you don't get anything. But I'm like, well, Facebook is like the mini internet. I'll go into the mini internet and see what's in there. And Manuscribers of Mercury is actually a little club that originates in Portland, Oregon, whose stated mission is to support the post office and simultaneously give praise to Mercury / Hermes by sending messages. And there's like this little kind of like occult rune right here on the envelope. And while the return address was to Portland, Oregon, a P.O. box in Portland, Oregon, the location stamp was from somewhere in Maine. So we have a listener in Maine who was giving praise to Hermes with witch money, and they chose to include me in this fun game. And I gotta say, I'm quite tickled. So to whoever sent me witch money, in this kind of geomantic ritual that you are building across America, thank you. That was super fun. That made my day to be involved in this, because this was just a real treat. So that's kind of what I've been up to. And if you're interested in that, if you're interested in participating in that, the Manuscribers of Mercury group, you can just request membership. It's just on Facebook. Just type in Manuscribers of Mercury and you can find it. And you yourself could participate in this cool thing. So that's what I've been up to.
A really cool thing that happened to you. I'm kind of jealous it happened to you.
That's
Isn't
awesome.
it?
Yeah.
That is also the most Portland thing I've ever heard. I'm from Portland, and it's awesome.
I think I would like to see now in a Scion game or some other game where their gods are real, having like just going to the Temple of Hermes and like it's just this giant floor of people writing letters and sending them, and like it's in a post office. I can already see like the adventure unfolding in this like kind of Temple of Hermes. So that's really rad.
I mean, awesome. I really have to say, like, as real life experiences go, like being included in this was a real privilege. So I don't know who our listener, you would have to be a dedicated listener of the show to put those two things together and to presume that somehow Game Depot would be able to get me this missive, and they did. They called me. They're like, you have mail here. You are receiving mail at the store. And I was like, very well. I shall come by forthwith and retrieve it. But yeah, this it was kind of a weird week at Full Metal RPG when we got this, and this made my day. This absolutely made my day. So thank you, Mystery Occultist. This was wonderful. So what do you guys all think? You guys want to have like a little chat about role-playing games and shit?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh,
good.
Wait, we're going to talk about role-playing games on this RPG podcast? Oh, man, you didn't tell me that.
No,
I'm out.
I was listening to this fucking podcast the other day. It was like technically like a miniatures podcast, and they spent the first 45 minutes talking about movies. And I was like, dudes, like, I get it. Like, movies are cool, and they're fun to talk about, but I want to hear about miniatures games. Anyway, anywhoosies, it was brought to my attention that in the history of Full Metal RPG, in 108 episodes, we've never done a like getting to know the hosts episode. Like we just skipped it at the beginning. We just dove right into the deep end. And since then, there's been a lot of changes in the cast. I think at this point, I'm the only founding member that still sits at the table. And now that we're just launching into Season 2, there's never been a better moment to... Richard's like, I'm not putting that on a t-shirt.
I'm totally putting that on a t-shirt, by the way. Just for you, man. Just for you. You get Season 2 t-shirt.
Ruining RPGs since 2015.
I've been like, I've been working on sketches for like, random ass weird cyborg with Full Metal RPG on the front of a Vulcan cannon. Or my other one is like, kind of a takeoff on the Season 1. I'm going to go the other way.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a cyberpunk version of the tome, right? So he's got the smart gun and it's the gnarled undead hand that's like
voting for that.
Yeah,
but
so
it should be made of like a Terminator claw.
Terminator claw. Could be a Terminator with like some dead flesh on it or something. Have a callback to the lich that's grabbing the tome on the first shirt. Because I'm nothing.
On callback, son.
Yo, dog! I heard you like callbacks.
So, yeah, great. No, that's good. So, we should do one, right? We have this new. We're turning over this new leaf. We should do a new episode in which we all kind of justify our existences real quick. And what better way to do that than in a little game? A little mini game like Saw. Like, you want to play a game? No, more like role playing. Usually when you listen to a lot of podcasts, right, it's like everybody goes, "Oh, how'd you get into gaming?" And then everybody tells like this version of the same story. And I'm sure that there's some discrepancies here and we have some unique stories. Nobody just wants to hear like, "Oh, well, my brother went to summer camp and he came home with this box and then I borrowed it from him and I didn't give it back 6 times." Nobody wants to hear that. So instead, I have a D6, an illegible Cyberpunk Red D6, and I will choose at random a host.
Fuck yeah.
And then we have a different D6 table of questions. All right?
This is going to be our new interview method.
If you can't tell from my face, I'm very surprised by this, and we had no idea this is how this was going to go. So.
I don't know why, but I'm just... The illegible D6 with custom symbols is just the most Cyberpunk Red thing I could think of right now.
I made this up minutes before the show began, so I'm as surprised as anyone. All right, so
about it.
I had like notes ready to go, but
throw them away, burn them.
The fuck out. You did prep for Full Metal RPG. Shame on you, sir. All right, here we go. All right, so the first number is 1, and that's me. I'm just gonna re-roll because no one was here for me. Number 5, that is Ashley. And and the first question for you, Ashley, is also number 5. What is your worst gaming experience ever? Tell us about your worst gaming experience. What happened?
You gotta see the face. You gotta find the if we post the video for this, you gotta see the face. Like, ooh.
I need to think about that one for a second.
It's like the SATs. You know instinctively. Just roll with the story.
Okay. Well, I have 2 that are probably pretty up there.
Pick one. Just pick one.
Well, one I've told before, so I'll go with the other one. Okay.
Let's go with the new one.
I was running Tiny Frontiers in the Gallant Knight Games room at one of the conventions here, like last year, a couple years ago. And there was this... It was great. I mean, I met a lot of awesome people for the most part. I know even bad stories I can't help but be like, but it was so much fun. So there was one table of people that wanted to play. They were all great except for 2 people. There were these 2 people. There was a couple that they came to play together and they wanted to just derail everything. And I was a very new GM. This was my first time running anything, was at this convention. So my first time running any games, I decided to do con games because why not? And I just felt really bad for the other players at the table because I was trying to like put it back without railroading it. I was trying to get it back on track. And these people, everything, they would just stop and be like, well, I want to do this. And I'm like, it was wrapping up. Everything was good. I had finally gotten it to the end. And they went, well, we want to have dinner with them. And it's the only time that I broke the rule of improv. And I just said, no. I was like, you can't, no. So, because normally it's just, yeah, and you go with it. Like, you just let the players kind of create this narrative. But these 2, and everyone else was, like, side-eyeing them. And it was just very, very uncomfortable, and I hated it. And so, I mean, I've been fortunate that I haven't had horrible, horrible experiences, I guess. But that's probably...
Well, this was Stars Without Number? Is that what you're playing?
Tiny Frontiers.
Tiny Frontiers, right. And why do you think that these 2 people were being so obtuse in this way? What do you think they got out of that?
So there are certain types of people that I think are just kind of odd for the sake of being odd, which I've had a lot of friends like that. I was a drama kid growing up, and a lot of them gravitate toward that. So I've known a lot of these people, but these 2 in particular, it was almost like they did not read that everyone else was not having fun, that they were taking it away from that. They just wanted to have all of the attention on them. And it was like I was running a game for them too, for these 2 people. And everyone else just were NPCs almost because they were the most important ones at that table.
That's not nice.
No, it sucked. It sucked a lot.
Not nice at all.
Yeah. Being a brand new GM, it sucked.
Does the panel have questions for Ashley?
No, I'm just like I have so much respect for you now because I would have lost my shit. Like just straight up, I have no patience for that.
My background is in corporate training, and so I am. So I've had to deal with people like that in large groups before.
Yeah. I definitely understand the type of person you're talking about, because in like one of my hobbies outside, I interact with a lot of people, and like it's like you said, like it tends to be people that just don't take like social cues that well and think that they're being funny and they mean well, but it just that transitional like knowledge and stuff just doesn't really hit with them. And it's more like, oh, that's unfortunate than anything. But at the same time, it could also just be two people that are trying to troll. So
yeah, and I know the difference between the two. So these were not them. Yeah.
Shout out to you for
these are
like
trolls, man.
having the patience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that these are trolls. There used to be a thing called Iron GM at Gen Con, and then there got to be like a bunch of legal shit about who owns Iron GM and who owns Iron Chef and all this other shit. And this is why we can't have nice things. There's no more Iron GM at Gen Con, I don't think. And I've heard podcasts of guys who are just like, oh no, what we do is we all go to Iron GM together, and then we all play at the same table, and then we torpedo whatever game it is that somebody's trying to Iron GM. Like, we're just going to try and fuck them. And it's just like, that's fun? That's fun for you to make sure that...
Just randomly torture a GM?
Yeah, they're all like, we all play Halfling Bards. We sit down and we're all playing Halfling Bards. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's this game. That's this game now, as we all play Halfling Bards. And it's like, okay, all right, well, congratulations. That person won't be Iron GM this year. So, I guess you did it. You win. You won role playing. So
the sad thing is like a lot of those people like tend to go there because they don't expect resistance, and then when they come across someone that's just like, no, get out, then they're like, well, what the hell, man? And they get all like sensitive and upset.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, have you guys have any of you, when you are role playing like at a con scenario and you're like running, have you ever felt that weird sheen of like sweat break out, like that flush of like, oh fuck, god damn it. The story I just told, for sure. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, stop it.
Yeah.
I just like, if I could have just cued them and like snapped and made them go away, I would have done that in a heartbeat. Just get the fuck off my table. I hate you.
Yeah. Like
I would have just told them.
I'm just always like looking at my clock when I'm GMing. I'm always like, all right, well, what time is it that I can like pull the plug on this thing, and like they can't be upset about the money they spent on their tickets. You know what I'm saying? That's Brendan at Gen Con every year. Anyway, so but no,
I should have let them go to dinner with the aliens. Like, I should have let them go to dinner and then been like, and they eat you. Everyone else gets away.
Like, you're going to the dinner and you accidentally walk into an airlock, and then you're spaced, and then your characters are dead, and then I don't have to deal with you anymore.
I have one very tiny quip to add on to that exact thing, if I can.
One more quip allowed.
One more. So I was in a similar situation to you. I had a player that basically, like, I had laid out like a number of bottles and stuff, right? And one had skulls and crossbones and was green and glowy, and they were like, I'm gonna drink it, and it killed him. And I did not allow him to make a new character. Like, that's so what you're gonna play. That's what's gonna happen.
That's so rad. I love that. Yeah. It's like, look at me. I'm defying reality. DM, do you dare kill me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I did.
Games with stupid prizes.
I'm not joking. He got really upset and was like, "Can I please make a new character?" And I said no. And I didn't feel bad because it was a friend of a friend. So he just went home. I was like, "It's not my problem."
There's the door, hombre. Fuck you. Anyway, all right. So here we go. Next up is, well, it's a 6. I got to reroll the 6. It's also a 6. Got to reroll the 6.
It's a good die.
3 is Richard. Richard, your magical question is going to be... Oh, it's one of these incomprehensible numbers. What the fuck? What number is this?
Cyberpunk Red.
That must be a 1.
Yeah,
that means,
go with the 1.
Richard, tell us about your very first gaming experience. What was the very first one?
Okay, so it was... Let's see here. I'm gonna date myself. It was like 1995, and I have to tell the prelude because this is kind of how I got into gaming altogether. As I was, he can't hear me, which means that the thing that I did not
Still
fix
not
it.
on, bro?
Yeah,
Still
apparently
not on the show? Richard, you're not on
apparently-
Full Metal RPG right now?
Apparently not.
It's
We can all hear you.
Yeah, I know, but they can't.
Yeah,
and
I can
that's-
hear you just fine.
Okay, all right. I'll make it quick because I can't fix it without shutting down the stream. So, basically, I was reading Star Wars novels. I was reading Star Wars novels on the bus, and somebody like tapped me on the shoulder. My friend, my soon-to-be best friend Matt, tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, man, do you want to come play Star Wars?" So I played Star Wars West End Games 2nd edition Star Wars for my first game. It was rad. I think I was the trope and I made a Jedi, but you know, it was a little OSR because I could do shit. So, but it was a lot of fun. And then eventually, I think he lost his legs, and I replaced them with repulsors or some shit. Like it was some really whacked out shit. Anyway, that was my
thing to do.
It was a very neat thing to do. Yeah, I've always been this way. It's when I first saw someone draw gears on a computer, I knew that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. So
Draw gears on computers?
Yeah, use computer aided drafting.
Replace repulsor legs.
Yeah, replace legs with repulsors. Yeah. No,
That's the goal someday.
All right, next question is going to be for Ashley once again. We're back to Ashley.
Okay.
And then we're going to go with... question 3 is, what is your favorite game of all time? Not, what is your favorite game now? Or what is your most played game?
Mhm.
What is your favorite all-time game?
Like system, I'm assuming, or campaign?
I'm thinking system. I'm thinking
Okay.
like you know, a precious tome of storytelling fun that you clasp to your chest.
I'm going to go with, honestly, as much as I am a narrative storyteller and I really like, actually, I will go with is it Children's and Monsters? It's the one that we played Monster Monday a long time ago at Daryl's house. So I'm like, yeah, it's my favorite. I don't even remember the name, but this game, like, just the feeling of this
Why am I
game.
drawing a blank? Richard, help me out.
Yeah.
It's,
Nice.
Of
You were playing
Monsters.
Prometheus.
no, not Prometheus. It was
I thought you were playing Prometheans.
I should be doing this. No, she didn't join the Promethean game. We were playing
And then that one.
Kids on
the
Bikes.
horror game. No,
it
not
wasn't
Kids on Bikes.
Kids on
It was,
Bikes.
you have a monster. You are
Yeah.
a child. You have a
Oh,
pet monster.
Yeah.
Everybody has a monster.
I can't remember.
I think it's
Yeah.
of Monsters
Monsters
and
and Other
Children.
Childish Things.
There
Yes,
you
Monsters
go.
and Other
Monsters and
Childish Things. There we go.
Childish Things.
Yes. My very favorite, can't remember the name, but just I remember the feeling playing this game was just so good, and I loved the book was just so much fun. It was just, it's a really fun game, and it was really cool. It was unlike anything else I had played. Just the whole one roll engine, I think, is what it's based on, but you have all D10s, and you have to roll to hit different like categories and things. I don't know. It's just, it's very fun, and I remember the feeling of playing the game is the one that comes up the most, like warm and fuzzies. So I really liked that one a lot.
The artwork for this game is very Tim Burton, and I kind of
Yes.
I kind of fuck
Yes.
with it.
Yeah,
I might
yeah.
have to pick this up.
The
It's
original book is
awesome.
awesome, and the expansion book Candlewick Manor is also really cool. So
Yeah, I remember there were some weird things with the rules.
yeah,
like that we were
had a
trying
lot
to figure out. Yeah,
So.
but it was awesome. It was so much fun, and I really love that. So yeah, I'll go with
Solid.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a really solid recommendation, and I'm sure that the cult would be very happy to look into that. I know I've heard of Monsters and Other Childish Things. I don't know if this is from me having Daryl on the show a couple of years ago, or if this is from me listening to Podcast The Reckoning, but I've definitely heard of it. And now the Colt has 2. All right, great. Now this time I'm going to randomize between Daryl and Gabe.
D3 bitches.
Yet. No, I'm not leaving myself out. I'm leaving myself out.
Flip
I'm leaving myself out. Just this is D2. So Daryl, you're going to be odds, and Gabe, you're going to be evens. Daryl, it's odds. I
am pretty odds.
Yeah. I did that for you, bro. I did that for you. I thought you'd pick up on it. I did that for you, bro. All right, here we go. 1 through 6. Okay, so we're back to 1. Your first gaming experience. What is your first gaming experience, Daryl?
My first gaming experience. I love telling this story. Oh my god.
Oh, great. Good,
so my first gaming experience. Picture this. The year is 1989. I was like 5 or 6 years old. I'm a kid. And my older sister, had gotten into D&D. My parents got her into D&D. For her 16th birthday, my mom bought the red box and put it on the table and GM'd for all of her friends. So my sister and her friends got big into D&D. She's got posters on the wall. She has the coolest room on the planet. And here I am, the little brother. All I want to do is play some fucking games. And after months and months of begging and tagging along, my parents are finally like, Don, you have to allow your little brothers to play. You just have to let them do it just once. It doesn't have to be a regular thing, but just let them play once. We did it for you. And so I got all excited. She helped me make a character. I was a wizard named Vitrin. And I was really excited. The artwork in the book was cool. I love filling out the character sheet. I loved rolling. Just rolling dice was a lot of fun. And I think I like crapped out on stats too, because we were just randomly rolling the stats as you did. And so I got really excited. Game day is coming up, and we all sit in her bedroom, and it's like the only time I'd ever been allowed to like hang out in her room. And so her friend Shauna was GMing. I don't remember Shauna's last name, which is good because I'm going to call her out big time. Shauna was really cool, and I think Charity and Michelle were there. So we sit down to play, me and my brother, with these fantastic teenagers. And within the first 5 minutes, I encountered some kind of like a demigod who banished me, and I'll never forget this phrase, to the realm of infinite wandering, there to wander for all eternity. And then Shauna grabbed my character sheet, ripped it up, and said, get the fuck out. That was my first gaming experience. There I was, 6 years old.
Damn.
I was like, you know what? Fuck this gaming stuff. This isn't for me. Yeah. I will never be into this. This is not cool. I don't like this, and I'm never going to do it.
Yeah, wow.
And it was many, many years before I picked up another book, because I went, it was, gosh, probably like 10 years later when I hit Powell's Books down in Portland, Oregon, and picked up what I didn't know was like a collector's edition monster manual for 2nd edition. I paid a lot of money for it. And just the artwork in the book got me going, and my friends and I started playing a little bit, and the rest is history. So yeah, first experience is also my like worst gaming story, but as you do.
Your sister still plays, right? Your sister still runs.
Oh, yeah, Dawn is still running strong. She's obviously she got me into the World of Darkness stuff back in the day, and she's still, to the best of my knowledge, I think she loves running Changeling the most. At least those are the games that I have played in most with her. I love her style. She's still an awesome GM. So if you ever get a chance to see her at a convention, definitely look for Dawn. Probably under the Wrecking Crew banner, maybe. I don't know what we're doing right now, but yeah.
Shout out to Dawn. Lynn, and
to the realm of infinite wandering you go.
It's burned into my brain, man.
All right, the next question is going to go right to Gabe. We're not going to OSR this. We're going to go right to Gabe, and then Gabe.
How fitting.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Man, this fucking die sucks. It just keeps rolling ones.
By the way, Moldvay Basic, Redbox D&D, Moldvay Basic is very close to me.
This is okay. Okay, so here we go. This is number 2. So Gabe, what is your best ever gaming experience? Your best gaming experience. Be it a session or a campaign. Tell us about it. And and of course what game it was. My God.
Okay, so my best gaming experience happened about 2.5 years ago. So my friend Evan, who also listens, so hello Evan, is like the DM that I look up to a lot. Like him and I are very close. Our friendship was built on actually, like, we met playing World of Darkness and whatnot. So regardless, it's a very tight friendship.
Yeah.
He decided he wanted to start. Yeah, he decided he wanted to start and it sounds way more elitist than it actually was, but like an expert group of 5e. So basically nerds like me that are like pushing 16 years of role playing and whatnot, and monsters would be just brutal. It was using 5e, traps and stuff, like barely any clues. He was going to be basically really balls to the wall on it because that's what we all wanted. So we were playing, and he was running a campaign that was basically like we had to go and get this magic staff to kind of stop the realms within D&D and whatnot from like merging over and just causing absolute chaos. It was epic as shit. So anyway, one of them was inside of a volcano. So we decided to go into a volcano, and it turns out that's where a vampire in a lair was. So we're doing this, and the combat alone against the vampire, because he would also kind of homebrew some extra actions and whatnot for this vampire, was brutal. Like it was horribly difficult. And me, who kind of was a group favorite in terms of like how my character art had been going and whatnot, ended up taking this vampire down because this volcano was going to erupt by basically jumping off of this bridge into the lava and then casting Thorn Whip as my action, and then pulling this vampire down into the lava as we like fell into this volcano while it was about to explode, while the party was using their actions to get out with like 5 health on the line. This combat lasted from like 7 p.m. until 3:30 in the morning.
Jeepers.
I didn't get home until 4 o'clock. It was like a 13, 14-hour session, but like it was such an epic conclusion to such a long combat session that like it still gets brought up. Like, hey, you remember the time Gabe like Thorn whipped like Dracula into an active volcano? It's like, yeah, man. But it was just such a good memory because like we weren't thinking about time. We weren't thinking about, you know, like how late we were going. We were just at our friend Brian's house, just battling Dracula inside a volcano, inside of his lair to get this like powerful staff. And it's like, that is the most D&D thing I can think of. Like, yeah, fighting a vampire in a volcano to get a magical staff while it's erupting. Like, like that right there is tabletop RPG. So
yeah.
Awesome. The stamina to pull those like half-day sessions. I mean, the fact that you were doing that in your 20s, like I think I was kind of tapping out of those epic sessions by the time I was in my, I guess I was in my late 20s, and I was still at that point I was like 6 to 8 hour sessions, and I was like getting ready to punch myself in the face. You know, now I can barely handle 3 hour sessions.
It's for me, it has to be a very specific group for me to dedicate that much time. Like I see that like the perfect time for me is about 6 hours, and that's what we do every Friday with Star Wars. But for some reason, like
Jesus Christ.
But for some reason, for that specific, like we just refer to it as like the expert type of group. That group just meshed so well. Our personalities were so on point that, like, no joke. I know it sounds cheesy and corny, but like we didn't want to stop. Like, you know, like the DM was like, guys, I am going to pass out and my kids are going to wake up. He had little ones. He's like, my kids are going to be up in like 3 hours and I'm going to be dying. So please leave.
Wow. Get the hell out. GTFO. GTFO.
But yeah, that's my best memory. And
awesome.
Like yeah.
All right. Well, I'll answer one now. I'll answer one for the cult. Let's see. We'll do Brendan. Brendan, I'm going to roll. Let's see. 6. Okay. The Ultimate RPG Collection. Less books or more books? Meaning, is the Ultimate Collection a few books that you just wear to rags? Or is the Ultimate Collection an epic RPG library that you can peruse and look at little things as your fancy carries you? So, of course, I personally am a bit kind of in between on this. I'm of two minds on this, like I am on most things, in that I am a magpie, and that requires me to buy tons of shit and to chase little flights of fancy pretty much perpetually. So I have hundreds and hundreds of role-playing books, and I feel like I have too many because I will never play most of these games. I see how I stuck on the word. I didn't want to say it. Most of these games I won't play. They're just paperweights made of paper, interestingly. So I kind of want to get rid of a lot of them, but I also can't. I really genuinely feel like on some level, like my life would probably be better if I got rid of a lot of this, so I could just stop looking at them and I could really drill down and focus on just a few games. And in 2020, I kind of decided that I was going to do that. That I wasn't going to just flit from like system to system to system. I was just going to drill down and like focus on a couple games, but that just proves really difficult. I don't know. For me personally, I don't know about you guys. I don't know about the rest of the panel, but I mean, just the other day, I went out and bought like 4 role-playing games just on Caprice. I was just like, I just bought like 4 fucking role-playing games, and I want to run them all, but I don't. The sad fact is that I probably won't run any of them. I probably will just all sit in a giant pile, and I'll just keep running Esoteric Enterprises over and over and over again until the cows come home. So. That is my answer to that. That's my answer to that. All right, cool. I'm going to make a little note suggesting that I answered that question. And now I'm going to randomize between the people here who have only answered one question. All right. Okay. So, no, come on. I need a D4. Why can't I get a D4? Okay. Hey, 4. So that brings us to Gabe again. Gabe. No.
This is the problem with charts.
Yeah, exactly. Gabe, say you were to be trapped upon a desert island, and as part of your internment upon this desert island, you had a role-playing group, but you could choose to always be a player or always be a GM, but having made the choice, you would never be allowed to be the other. Which would it be?
Okay, Satan.
I mean, you know.
I would say DM. I'd rather DM. When people ask me about because do you identify as a player or a DM? I always lean back on DMing. I think it's like the enjoyment of knowing what's around that corner, or dropping the big plot bombs and stuff. I just find more excitement out of that in different ways. It's almost like a director in a movie. You're sitting there and you're like, oh, here comes the part where they're gonna bust out the lightsaber and do a big battle, and that's what makes me excited. Although I do really enjoy playing, DMing is just it's on a next level for me. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, then. All right. I'm going to do a D3 now. And that brings us to Richard. Richard, you are next on this D6 list. Next time when we do something like this, I'm going to make a much longer list.
Yeah.
So
we could get some of our viewers to write in with questions too.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a thing in the Discord. If you're a patron and you're on the Discord, you can just ask us questions and we'll just talk about them online. So or on the show. So we'll just hit you guys up. Yeah. So that is a benefit of being a member of the Patreon. All right. So okay. Daryl. What is your favorite game of all time? Richard, sorry.
Oh, Richard.
This is a tough one.
It's your favorite game of all time, Richard, and it's keep in mind this is a game/system. This is not an experience.
Yeah.
This is a rule set.
No, I got you. I'm going to have to go with Apocalypse World. Is probably, if I'm going to pick one that if I was to save, one of the books off of this shelf back here, as you can see, this shelf back here, I would probably save my signed copy of Apocalypse World First Edition from Vincent Baker. I think it's one of the most. It's just written in this very much in-world thing that gets you very much in the mood of the apocalypse, and I've run it more times than I think I've run anything. Yeah, I probably run it more times than I've run anything. Even Cyberpunk 2020 would be maybe the close second. So like those are my two. If I could pick a second one, but if I'm gonna pick one, I'm gonna go with Apocalypse World First Edition.
All right, that's good. That's cool. That's a solid answer. All right, now it's between me and Daryl, and this time I'll be odds. And it is to evens. So Daryl, you have answered question number 1. You are now going to answer question number 6. The Ultimate RPG Collection, less or more?
Dang. Me personally, while I love collecting things, and I have quite a good collection going of all of the Chronicles of Darkness books, which is like the collection I'm working on, I have to say less. I like a nice, compact system that is easy to understand, and my roots are narrative gaming, so less is more. I don't want tables and tables. I don't need a GURPS style, infinite universes worth of information. My favorite games are like the Jim Pinto games that are less than 10 pages long. So less, I'm going to have to say. I like a good, solid system. I will customize it and add all the stuff in. I don't need inspiration from millions of books. I'm blessed to be pretty creative and have a lot of really good friends who give me wonderful ideas. So less is more for me.
Yeah, I mean the joy of role playing is the building thought castles and interacting with your friends anyway. So why do we need all the books, right? We don't really actually need them. Remember when we were kids and we had these books? And we didn't have a lot of money, so we only had a couple, right? And we had to come up with all that shit ourselves. You might even remember how it used to be like the covers of the books didn't necessarily match what was in the book, and you'd have to kind of come up with something. You'd be like, "Oh, I bought this because there's like a cat lady in it, and I need there to be cat ladies because I'm a adolescent boy, and so now I need to come up with stats for cat ladies." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days. And then you get some money, and then you're all about like, you're like, I gotta own it all. That's me. I'm yoke too.
No.
With my kids and 5e, man, we are collecting everything for 5e for the kids, and they're all into it. So
that's cool. I mean, to be totally honest, that's not that aggressive of a line. So you can do it.
Yeah.
All right. So I haven't answered 2. This will be my second question, and I've already answered question 6. Now I'm going to answer question 4. Which is Desert Island, player or GM? Well, that's pretty easy for me. I'm with Gabe on this one. I ended up, like, when I kind of cut my teeth in role-playing world, it was with this high school group, and we had a dude that was, like, the perpetual GM, and I never really considered myself the GM guy. I didn't really think that that's the way it was. But, like, he actually graduated a year ahead of us, right? And it was so funny because... when he graduated, some of my friends, they all just turned to each other and they were like, "Well, that's it. We're done with role playing. It's over now." And I was like, but what if it wasn't? What if a hero were to rise amongst us and run a game that was not this one guy who weirdly I actually ran into at IOG yesterday, bizarrely, and I haven't seen this guy in like 25 years, and I ran into him yesterday at IOG. So
that's who that was.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, I'll start running Vampire the Masquerade. And so my very first game that I ever ran was Vampire the Masquerade. And I have to say, like, at that point, I was like, I had all those like nervousnesses about like, oh no, I'm gonna be bad at this, and what if the story is not good and all this kind of crap. And it did take me a couple times of running to realize it's all bullshit. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Just, if it's all behind the screen, you can just pretend like it was all written all along. But it was a lot of fun. And then, because obviously the people who I was playing with at that time had a very kind of like calcified way of looking at our group, I became like the forever GM dude, and I ran pretty much exclusively through college and into kind of post-college, and it really wasn't until post college that other people even showed any interest in taking that up. To this very day, I'm fucking 42 now, and to this very day, the groups that sort of coalesce around me tend to kind of look at me as like, oh, well, what are we playing, Brendan? What are you running? And I think some of that is just kind of the aura that I let off, and then some of that is kind of like I think people just would rather play than run. But I am one of those dudes who would defos rather run than play pretty much forever. So yeah, if I was stuck on a desert island and all I could do was either run games or play games, I'd fucking run games all day, and I'd probably be pretty stoked about it, to be totally honest.
You know, the brilliant thing about being a GM on a desert island is that you wouldn't have to worry about the scheduling. You've got a captive audience.
That's true.
Takes away the biggest pressure.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
I was gonna say from.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say from one DM to another, like DM as like people that like, you know, we identify as DMs and stuff. The one thing I've noticed from players when I'm like, yeah, guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. If anyone else wants to DM, like, you know, after we do like a 3 or 4 month long campaign, I'm like, you know, if anyone wants to run something new, people are always like, oh, no. Like I would just stress out and stuff. And it's like, if you really knew how little prep I put in this week and just pulled it out of my ass, like you would be super down to do it. But
I mean, like you were saying, that's the skill set that you've built over 16 years. And certainly on day one, when I was doing it, I wasn't doing it like that, where I was just kind of riffing on things. And there was a time when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, and I was probably putting in fucking like 15 hours of prep a week because I was playing Pathfinder 1 and you have to. So, I mean, like...
Mathfinder.
Yeah, dude, seriously, like, I need to consult this table for level-appropriate treasure. Now I need to create a level-appropriate CR. How do I divide up the antagonists in this room and to create a level-appropriate encounter? Oh, God, brutal. Anyway, I do not have good memories of that. I do have some.
Funny question, though. You still have good memories. The funny thing about that question is I was just talking to my roommate. He's our GM. Like every time we get together and play, he's the one. He GMs both the Pathfinder 1 and 2 campaigns that we play right now, which both meet approximately weekly. So if you can imagine GMing a Pathfinder 1 and 2 campaign, 2 of them each week, that's what he does. And we were
I cannot.
Like, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
We were talking actually like this week about he's just like, I prefer GMing. Like playing is fun or whatever, but if I had the choice, I would always choose GM. And I thought that was so weird because I enjoy playing more than I do running. I think that's kind of the thing where people can never find someone to GM. Like there's a group of people that want to play and they can't find a GM kind of thing. So it seems much more prevalent that there are more players than people who want to GM for them. So that's interesting that both of you guys answered it that way and he answered it that way.
I think it's kind of just the way that your brain gets formed, you know, as those like electrons or whatever, like push through your brain, creating these pathways. And then it's just a real example because you do this thing year in and year out for your whole fucking life. You don't realize that it's your whole fucking life. You just kind of look back at a certain point. You realize that you've been like running games for your weirdo friends for longer than you had been alive when you started running games for your weirdo friends, you know? And it's literally etched into your brain, these behaviors. And so those of us who hear you talking about how like, oh, it's harder to find GMs than players, we're always boggled. We're like, my God, why would you not want to GM? And I think that honestly, maybe Gabe, you can back this up. It's the kind of thing that once you've got the taste for it, it's like blue cheese. Once you've got the taste for it, you're like, I fucking love it. But like, if you don't have the taste for it, it seems like a bizarro thing. You know what I'm saying?
So I think it's how would I describe this? Because I've talked to my close friend Evan, who also is a DM and identifies as a DM. From what we've guessed, most DMs that really passionately fall in love with DMing became a DM out of necessity, such as we have a group of 6 people. One of you, suckers has to be the DM. So then people like me are like, okay, I'll do it. I'll see if I'm fine at it. And then I discover that it's like a whole brand new game, once you start DMing. So like that, I know that's how she got into DMing, is because she really wanted to play Monster of the Week and no one was really like interested in running it. So she picked it up and now she loves DMing PBTA stuff. So like, that's kind of where I see it coming from. But like, I also agree, like when we have a friend, his name is Steven. He is amazing at writing and coming up with amazing ideas and stuff. He really wants to DM, but he's stuck in the cycle of, I think it's going to be terrible. And we're like trying to be like, dude, just don't think about it. Just come up with something cool and then just run it. And you know what? Half of DMing is just winging it. So it's like, I'm trying to get that kind of mentality that you were talking about, Brendan, where it's like, why wouldn't you want to do that into other people? But for some reason, people see it as like this Mount Everest of skill that's required. In reality, it's like, dude, if you can DM drunk, which like I'm pretty sure every DM has done at least once, like you're solid, man. Like it's fine. It's about the players having fun. So
yeah. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. But there's a lot that goes into.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I'm not trying to like undersell it, but
right, and you pick up all these little soft skills along the way. But
oh, for sure.
I think you're 100% right that a lot of this comes from necessity, which is that like, I want to role play, therefore I must GM, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. So we're at over an hour at this point, and what do you think? Are we good on this subject? I mean, if we're at over an hour, that means we've had our asses in the saddle for probably like 2.5 with all the technical stuff we did on the front end. So I think this is a good spot to wrap it up. How do you guys feel?
Good. I liked this format. I think that this would be fun to do every once in a while because it's it's fun. I like it.
Good.
I would like to answer one question, and I'll be quick, I promise, that was asked, but I wasn't asked the question.
Well, hold on. Wait till we do this again. Wait till you do this again, and then you can answer it. Okay. Then you know.
Damn it.
Hold on.
Sorry, Gabe. You chose Wizard to play, and
what I want to be.
This is OSR, and you rolled Barbarian. I'm sorry. All right, so you know what? Thank you. First of all, thank you to everybody on the panel today for showing up early, staying late, working through all the technical stuff. Thank you to Richard. I really want to take a second here and just say how much Full Metal RPG owes to Richard. Okay, I don't think that Richard gets enough credit for the work that he does, because the work that he does doesn't get seen, but literally, I don't know that this show would still exist if it wasn't for Richard's tireless, endless work. He is a real soldier, he's a real trooper, and he is just a fundamental character, a person who brings people together and builds community. So Richard, thank you for everything that you have done ever since you started being associated with the show, to get us to this point. I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks very much. I really love this show. So I'm okay being the negotiator, talking people off of ledges all the time. So, it's fine. Whatever. Dark.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I put you on the spot and made you feel weird by gushing over you, but I just want I want people to know the esteem that I have, because like literally like all of this that we do would not be possible. It just wouldn't be possible without Richard's work, hard work every day, every week. And then I want to, of course, thank the patrons, again, and especially thank you to all of our new patrons who have come in so hot over the last 2 weeks. My last note is we're kind of changing our media structure here, and like we used to be super active on Instagram, and that was the place to interact with us/me. I'm not really on there anymore. If you are an Instagrammer, you've probably noticed that there's just a real kind of dearth of Full Metal RPG content on there. I have kind of pulled off of Facebook. I'm still on Facebook because it's like fucking welcome to the 21st century. You kind of have to be a little bit, but like I'm not really curating there as much as I was. The official place to interact with Full Metal RPG is our Discord, which has invites, and we can get them to you very easily if you don't have one. Please find me there if you want to be on the show, if you want to talk about your project, if you need a signal boost, if you just want to come and enjoy community of like-minded people. Full Metal RPG is not for everybody. It is like a cocktail that is part leftist politics, part role-playing that's horror, part OSR games, part secret miniatures that we don't talk about, swirl it all up, part Highlander 2 references, swirl it all up. Not everybody's going to like this cocktail, but if you do, you will find people who are like you on the Discord, and you can interact with them. So we don't do Twitter. All right, you might find some dead Full Metal RPG Twitters out there, but we don't do Twitter. And so the only places that you can actually interact with official Full Metal RPG is the Discord primarily, and then we do have the Instagram and the Facebook. So please come find us on the Discord. Thank you, everybody, for watching our very first stream. Thank you for listening to this latest episode. Have a good night.
Wow! Good night, everyone.